Sorry about that. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is your tired midnight blogger what blogs at midnight. Or in this case, it's 7:44 p.m. So I've been thinking a lot about some of the things in my last stream, about some of the responses, most of them very positive, very heartfelt. And I wanted to share some things pertaining to a suggestion that was made to me in the chat of my last stream. People were recommending that I watch a video by Nick Freitas. I may be mispronouncing that. And a video he has made called "You Don't Hate the Media Enough." Basically, people were telling me, well, anyway, my interpretation of the video after seeing it, mostly excellent. It does have some flaws. There are some criticisms I could make of it. But he basically said everything I really wanted to say in my last post, only much more succinctly and with much better examples. Now, I want everyone to be able to go to Netter's Network's Thursday Things with guest Rod Underhart coming at 9 o'clock. So I have 70 minutes or less to try to do a moderately decent post. Let's see if I can get it done. I've probably already failed Poe's canon of grabbing them from the beginning, but that's okay. I'm still learning. It will be a while before I'm up to Nick's level here. And I will likely never have his warrior levels. I know he served in the military. If he was here, I would do that typical thing of thanking him for his service, which sometimes just doesn't, it seems trite sometimes, but I do think we should always be good to our troops. And I know we are, sadly, not. I'm going to start by talking about one of my best friends left a comment. And I don't know if I responded to him in the best way possible. I have found that I guess before I get too deeply into this, I want to give my caveat. All of this is for educational purposes. The views of the person speaking are not necessarily the views of the sane, all that stuff. Hopefully that will cover me a little bit when I make some of the statements I'm going to make. Because I'm going to be talking about some fairly delicate topics. And I really don't claim to have all of this figured out. I'm not as knowledgeable as Nick. I'm not as skilled as Nick. But I want to give at least a little bit of analysis on some of the things that he's done and said. But the comment of my friend that I don't want to share it. I'm not meaning to call him out. But he made a statement that I found myself reacting much more emotionally to than likely the statement deserved. In other words, more negatively emotionally. And so I tried to give a not quite as snarky reply, but I still kind of let some of the emotion come through. I still let some of what's been going on in my head come through. And I guess what I'll do is read the quote. Yeah, I don't want to actually listen to myself. I'm not going to highlight this because, again, I'm not saying any of this to call him out or to say that he's wrong or anything like that. I just want to analyze something really quickly. He gives the very valid criticism that easily it is possible that the Trump shooter could have changed his political views. And that's true. That's absolutely true. First, I'm going to read my response. I'm going to try to do a little self-psychoanalysis. Self-psychoanalysis, tired blogging. So I respond to the gentleman, thanks for the comment. It is a good point, but respectfully, when such contradictory reporting bombards us so often, I think we have to apply our logic more than party affiliations. Side note, it probably sounds like I'm accusing him of not being logical. That really wasn't my intent, but that's what came out. I think for several years now, we have allowed the emotions of certain events to cloud that logic. And this is where I have to be careful. That certain January date that we're not supposed to talk about, that we ought to be able to talk about on both sides. And ironically, I find it is all too often one side that is being censored. I don't know how else to put it. And I don't like that. And I think it leads to these kind of emotional things. But where I'm going with this is I noticed a marked change in my friends after January 6th. They became a lot more angry. They became a lot more, well, I'll just read the comment. The assassination attempt and the reactions to it have opened my eyes that while both sides use heated rhetoric, the uniparty has turned many of us into emotional, hateful people. And I hope my friend understands, I don't mean him. I don't think I've ever known him to actually be hateful. I'm sure we all have at some point, but I've never seen that from him. So I'm not accusing him of that, but the uniparty has turned us into emotional, hateful people who will justify any action as long as it keeps Trump out of office. You know I am not voting for him. I don't say this in support of him, but a line has been crossed. I know that this particular friend, was not one that indulged in this, but I cannot bring them up. I can't allow myself to laugh complacently and joke about how the guy shouldn't have been missed. The civil war that bullet would have caused, make no mistake, I'm firmly convinced that it would have caused a civil war. We would probably be fighting it right now. That bullet would have caused, and was meant to cause, I suspect anyway, is the danger, the horror of that thought, combined with the logic of the things I am seeing, is what is motivating these posts. I misspelled it. Comes of using your phone and being a little emotional. Likely I should back off and let it go. He made another point, and I just kind of sloughed it off because honestly, to me, I don't really care about that point. I'm not discussing in this juncture. I'm not discussing certain politicians. I'm talking about events that have emotional impacts on us all. And hello to you, Enigma Severus. Thank you for being here. And you also inspired me a little bit with your email. I hope you know it was in a positive way. But that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this post and trying desperately to get it done before Netter's Network. So where I'm going with this is what to the left January 6th was, at least emotionally. And I know our emotions shouldn't be the ruling factor, and facts don't care about our emotions. But having said that, the attempted assassination of Trump was the same thing to me. And I think to many others. And that may be right, that may be wrong, but I'm just spelling that out because I know that I can be awfully wishy-washy, and I know that I need to stop that. And yet I also don't want to be arrogant or assume that my way is the best way. Enigma Severus comes in to say hello. He says, good. I hope the email was inspiring in a positive way. Really wanting you to be at peace in your life. And I appreciate that. I want that for you as well. And I want that for the friend that I was possibly unfair about. I'll share it again quickly since you come into here. One of my best friends left a comment, and I found myself really strongly emotionally responding to it. And I left him a comment, but I tried to make it not quite as angry as I kind of felt, but yet still conveying the point that I just made. That to me, the assassination of Trump is this, it's basically, to me, the same thing, the same spirit, only on the other side. And yeah, I know that's controversial, but I do attribute it to the other side. I'm sorry. Again, I may be wrong, but I attribute that assassination as much to the hateful rhetoric that has been propounded as to anything. And so I'm going to do this little thing here. I don't know how much of it I'm going to get through, but I wanted to share some of the highlights of Nick's post. I shared several, like probably too many clips of it on X because he just stated it so eloquently. Let's see if I'm smart enough to make this work. Okay. Present. All right. This is a clip from You Don't Hate the Media Enough.
All the ones with the magnifying glass are what they're offering.
That's the
you,
point
correct?
that I'm trying to get across.
Yeah.
I've already searched specifically for this event, so you would think it'd be even more likely that I would see something on it, but instead I'm being shown George Wallace and Lenin.
Yeah, it is the selective curation of the news. I've had ones before when we've been doing show prep, and so I'm in there and I'm Googling information for articles and things like that. And like, I can't find articles or I can't find things that I know exist. And then I go over to DuckDuckGo and I'll search there, and then boom, it's in the top 5.
But they all.
Now, this has been exactly my experience in my blogging for the last 4 years. And it's one of the reasons why I don't know that I've abandoned, but I've backed off on being so centrist, because I don't mean to exaggerate, but it is literally always a left-leaning slant. And so I feel no need to, the left has got all of the media. It's got all of the strengths as far as that. I don't feel any need to try to make it even. It would be even if we could use our search engines and find the stuff that we want to find. Miss Frosty has come by. Hello, stopping by and leaving a like. Thank you very much. Enigma Severus. A running theme that is proven pertaining to single women is that single women will intentionally drag their friends down and destroy their friends' relationships if the friend is happy. So do not allow others to influence your knowledge of what is right and wrong. There are friends who will drag you down. And I don't think that my friend is trying to drag me down, but the quality of the emotions that I'm getting from people, like I talked when I first talked about Trump to one of my other good friends, I had literally never heard this guy ever be hateful, but he was hateful talking about Trump. And I don't get it. I'm not saying Trump is wonderful. I'm not saying he's all that and a bag of chips, but I don't get this hatred. At least I don't get hating him and not the other side. I totally don't get that. Anyway, a phrase shared before, single women keep women single. That is agreed. And people can only give you what they have. If they have hatred and anger and blind ignorance, that is exactly what they will spew at you. I have watched The Big Bang Theory. I haven't watched it very religiously yet. Somehow I've ended up in a movie community, but I haven't really been able to watch it. I've watched more movies with the community than I had in probably the previous 2 or 3 years. And Sashi says you didn't move off center. One side just went further than the other. No, I agree. So, again, I found to my embarrassment and chagrin that my friends here have been quite correct about Nick Frianti's, I'm probably mispronouncing his name, video. And rather arbitrarily, I wanted to share times when he said better than I did last night the things that I had hoped to say. Okay. Hopefully, he's definitely smoother at his transitions. Enigma Severus, Penny requested that Sheldon give her a consolation about missing her boyfriend. Sheldon said, in 100 years, you will both be dead. So what does it matter? Don't stress over some of these things. Yeah, I know. I do tend to stress too much. And Enigma agrees with Shashi. It just depends on which side. Yeah, 100%. So let's see what Nick has to say here that I should have said last night. Oh, wait, I need to share it, I guess. I mean, you can probably hear it anyway, but he's talking about Elon Musk buying X. And this is another thing that I'm not understanding. But he'll say it better than I do.
Twitter, turn it into X. Did he immediately go out and censor a bunch of left-wing media? Did he go censor left-wing sites? Did he kick them? Wait a second. Did he kick everybody off? Did he do any of that? No. You know what he provided? A level playing field. And the left lost their minds. And the thing that you need to understand is that was one of the most telling things that actually took place. Twitter files, all the other stuff, very, very revealing. Getting rid of 80% of the employees to be able to, very, very revealing. But one of the most revealing things was the left were not furious because they were being censored on Twitter the way that the right was. The left was furious because they no longer had the power to censor the right.
Yep.
They can't compete on a level playing field, and they frigging know it. Well, and can we also point?
And one of the first reports I heard of the Trump assassination attempt was from the Young Turks. And he said something very telling. If we have to resort to assassination, we've already lost the debate. And I would suggest that it is the same with censorship. If you have to look, I want to be centrist. I really do. But for 4 years now, it has been in my heart that if you have to censor the other side, if you can't trust the American people to make up their own minds about Trump or about Republicans, you're morally and intellectually bankrupt. I don't like making strong statements like that, but prove me wrong. If you have to censor the other side, then I cannot believe. I have never, in the little bit of studying of history that I've done, I have never found censors to be on the side of the good people. Okay, so Enigma Severus, very true. I have something for me. Check my email. Oh, let me do that. I'm sorry to be so slow, guys. Gmail. Oh, hey, I will share this. I have received an email from someone in the chat, and he is saying that this is cool, and I will trust him. If it isn't cool, I will blame him outright. No, I'm just teasing. I don't doubt that this will be telling. So we want Elon. Okay, let's see what Elon Musk has to say.
The party that cries about how Donald Trump is a threat to democracy just forced out the candidate that their voters chose and nominated a candidate that no one voted for. The hypocrisy is immense in the Democratic Party. The party that cries.
And I'm sorry, I agree. I do not understand why my friends, I'm really meaning to be respectful. It probably doesn't sound like I am, but I am baffled by why people are excited about Kamala. Now, I don't doubt that the other side is saying, well, why are you excited about Trump? Number one, I'm not excited about Trump. None of this is inspired by a desire to elect Trump. It is inspired by seeing frightening things and basically not really knowing how to deal with it other than to go on here and spout stuff. Probably, anyway. And hello, Connie Cleary, the faithful bird woman of YouTube. I'll desperately try to be done before Netter's Network. Good evening, Matt Cheatwood. I just couldn't resist. And yes, I hope I showed it. If there's more, please let me know. Yeah, the time is coming when that may prove truer than we even want, but that's okay. I thought that was an amazing short, and it is massively immense with the hypocrisy. They will do anything. And I'm so sorry that they're censoring your comments. I wish I could do something about that. It's not right. But yeah, and I don't know that this is true of my friends. I also want to make that delineation. The friends that I'm criticizing now, they're not the sources of all this. They're not the sources of the gaslighting. I feel that they're being manipulated by some very supremely evil people. And there it is. But yeah, it looks to me as if the core of the Democratic Party will do anything to get Trump out. They will cheat, they will lie, they'll do anything. Anything's justified. That to me is scary. There should be some kind of line that you won't cross. Or there used to be lines that we didn't cross. We didn't try to assassinate our opponents. We didn't lie about them. We lied about them. We've always been lying about them, but not to this extent. And definitely, I hope that we used to be a country that at least had some ability to examine things and figure things out for ourselves. Matt Cheatwood, peace is war, slavery is freedom, tyranny is democracy. Yeah, 1984. I'm so sorry I didn't get to read it, but it may have made it better anyway. Something I've learned, Enigma Severus, I'm not saying you're not learning on your own research, but I have learned a lot of people just repeat, yeah, no, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. And here's the deal. I don't want Trump to be the good guy. I don't like him. But I have to, whether these senses I've been given are reliable or not, they're what I have to go on. Looking at what happened at Twitter, unless you want to gaslight me, and it seems like that is the desire. You know, if you listen to the speech between him and Mellon, I think that was very telling. He had other interviews with Tucker Carlson, and you may not like Tucker Carlson, but that interview went better. And it was because essentially Tucker Carlson didn't have a censorious agenda. He wasn't out to do a hack job on him. All right. Yeah, I know we're all planning for worst case scenarios. Not to be cowardly, I just don't want to. Basically, I don't want to make you guys targets, if that makes any sense. Yeah, Enigma Severus, he didn't care for Trump at all. He was arrogant and a douche. As he has done his job, he has changed. And again, I agree. I don't know that he's become a saint, but I have seen him grow and change. I don't doubt that my liberal friends will be like, oh, that's horse hockey, and maybe so, but I don't think so. I think he's grown. It may not be all roses. Look at myself. I know me. I know I'm a very, I understand. And I'm not going to be judging there because I think a lot of us have some of that in us, and that is not always necessarily bad, but it sure can be. All right, let me share some more. Burning time when I could be sharing the next clip. And I titled this one, "This is what intellectual honesty looks like." All right. Remember, my friends had this ginormous change of heart, and I had a little bit of a change of heart on January 6th. I'm not meaning to be disingenuous here or to claim that I'm smarter than I am. But even then, thoughts like this were rolling through my head.
While things are burning behind them, is had to be.
Have you seen that meme of "There's nothing to see here"? It's the like Baghdad Bob meme.
Yeah, well, there was one from an old, like, it was a slapstick video that they did. I can't remember the guy's name, the actor's name,
and like everything's exploding behind him.
To see here, move along. Like, this is again. This would be, let me tell you, what would be the equivalent of this. The equivalent of this would have been if you would have had like a Fox News reporter outside the worst parts of what happened on January 6th saying, this is actually a mostly peaceful protest. Tens of thousands of people that were here are not storming the Capitol. Like, if Fox had done that, you would have looked at it and said, okay, but the substantive part of what's going on right now is not the fact that you had people peacefully protesting. It's the fact that you did actually have people breaking windows, peaceful protests while things are.
Anyway, there it is. Enigma Severus says, my desire is always to encourage people to be their better self. However, it takes Christ for that to happen. Trump may not be Christian. He is a hell of a lot better. And again, with respect to my liberal friends, I agree. I can't help but agree. At the very least, you can say whatever you want about his lies. He said lies. He's gaslit us before, but he hasn't gaslit us that there was basically someone with dementia. He didn't run around with dementia for 3 years and then gaslight us about that. and then stepped down because he was forced to, not because it was anything for the good of the country, but he was forced to. And then we're going to prop up someone that nobody's voted for. But yet, they're the heroes of democracy. The naked gun scene is what they're referring to. It's funny how it became a reality for the left to actually do it and be serious. Yeah, I'm sorry. Again, we have to be intellectually honest. I'm not trying to say that everything about January 6th was just wonderful and pure as the wind-driven snow. Having said that, with respect to someone who I've evidently lost as a follower, and that's okay, because, you know, it is what it is. It is fair to say, hey, look, there were multiple riots on the other side. That doesn't make January 6th right, but don't get on this moral high horse and act like you're so good and so kind when we have you on video calling for violence. We want violence in the streets. I won't play that video here. I played it in a different post. And, you know, anyway. CODIS Fact Search. Hey, man. Yeah, I'm doing a random stream. Thank you for showing up. One of the best historians here that I know, and a hell of a teacher, as I know you also are, Enigma Severus. And to be fair, so is the friend that I am mildly criticizing, I guess is the best term. It's not, I don't really like that term, but CODIS Fact Search, good Lord, there were hundreds of people hurt when Trump was elected in DC and riots. Yeah, I know. It's not wrong, but yet we're supposed to, that was the point of my last post, and I'm continuing it with someone who said it and demonstrated better than I have. So in my sleazy fashion, once again, I wish I was smoother at this. Okay. Let me share this screen. Where's my StreamYard at? All right. You don't hate the media enough.
I knew a lot of people, and I remember I commented on January 6th, I think I commented on the 7th or 8th, and I said, look, I've had a lot of people ask me to comment on this, so here's what I'm going to comment on, because we had just got out of a very, very contested race for Congress at that point. And I said, I'm never going to condone anybody engaging in vandalism, trespassing. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to excuse people that I might have voted the same as when they do that. I'm not going to do that. You have to be prosecuted, because otherwise we're saying that this is perfectly fine to do, and chaos is what comes next. I said, but I find it a little bit disingenuous that the same people who were cheering, or as Vice President Kamala Harris did, encouraging people to bail out rioters. Right? I have a hard time believing the same people who celebrated all of these protests throughout all the summer of 2020, who celebrated. I knew a lot of people, and
yeah, I didn't do a great job of clipping that one, but yeah, essentially, my friends, I cut them some slack because, frankly, I don't know if they knew about the riots. And secondly, whenever I bring it up, they would at least nod and hem and haw and yeah, this and that. But at the end of the day, I would know that January 6th was weightier in their minds. And I did not understand that. Not even back then. I don't understand how one riot, insurrection, whatever you want to call it, outweighs 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 others. CODIS Fact Search. I refuse to be crazy. I don't vote anymore. I am sleazy. Big hugs to Connie. Connie deserves big hugs. And Enigma Severus, something my students do is they claim being a victim of a situation in school. However, in order for them to be a victim, they had to break a number of rules before they got into that situation. CODIS Fact Search is agreeing with you. And as a teacher, I asked them, Okay, well, you lied to get out of class and you went to a prohibited area before you became a victim. The student always wants to ignore their bad actions. Yeah. I've been guilty of that too, but yeah, it's true. People will always want to ignore all of their cheating and claim their rights when it turns against them. Mere Christianity. Yep, great book. C.S. Lewis talks about it. Whether you believe in Christ or not, I think that is a fabulous book to read. CODIS fact search, it is not that they are disingenuous per se. It's simply that what's good for me is not good for you, and so on. It's literally human nature 101. Sadly true. All right. The next and last post is Nick's amazement at the selection of Kamala. And again, I'm not meaning to be hateful, but I'm baffled. Why is anyone excited about this person? I don't get it. I just don't get it. And hello and meow meow, Moira McCabe, one of the great. I'm having a senior moment. One of the great investigators of political stuff right here, Moira McCabe. Enigma Severus, thank you. I think we're very much a great point. We're always more stern on other people's sins. Oh, yeah, and less worried about our own. Try to be harder on myself. I think, oddly enough, that seems to be the kind of friend that I attract, is people that are harder on themselves. They may be hard on other people as well, but they're typically harder on themselves than they are on other people, and I admire that. I'm not laughing to laugh at you. I absolutely understand the feeling. I'm not an example to follow. For more that I try to be. Hugs to everyone. Moira McCabe is saying she's just a political shit talker, but hugs and meow to Connie. Okay, so sadly, the last of the things that I clipped to share. You don't hate the media enough. Why Nick is amazed at the selection of Kamala. I put in my own post of it on X. Democrats were denied the right to vote for viable candidates, but it's the Republicans that are evil. Just saying.
It wasn't, did you answer every question? It was, how many did you get right? Did you actually give a coherent response?
And he's talking about the incredibly condescending, but frankly kind of deserved reaction of Jill Biden to Joe Biden after the debate, where I think any of us who are intellectually honest had to admit at that point, whether you liked it or not. Maybe you wouldn't agree with dementia, although I'm certain it is. Partly because my own dad has dementia. I know what it looks like, but something wasn't right. So.
Right. But no. Joe, you answered every question. Who wants ice cream? Right. Like, this was how they were treating him, and then telling us that the real problem was our cheap fakes. And the end result was the moment the polls went like this, the Democrats like, we got to jettison you, man. Sorry. Stuck with you as long as we stuck with you.
And then the money shut off too.
When we stuck with you all through the cognitive decline and all through the primary, we deliberately manipulated the party of democracy deliberately manipulated their own primary process to prevent RFK from being able to compete in it.
Which I humbly resent, but that's neither here nor there.
To prevent anybody from being able to compete in it. Right. And then at the end, did they say, okay, we're going to come up with some sort of snap process to give? No. It was the party of democracy is now going to inform their voters who their candidate will be, and you will take it and you will like it. I held my kindergartner to a higher. It wasn't, did you answer?
And there it is again. And just another version of you will own nothing and you will be happy. Everybody's saying hi to each other. I love that. CODIS fact search. I hate the media enough to tell you that I refuse to watch anything that comes across the media and take it at face value ever. Yeah, I can't blame you. He gave a lot of other good examples. I didn't clip them because I didn't plan on doing this stream. I just felt the need to. Codis Fact Search, Enigma Severus is saying media is always filtered. Fox News shows a new angle the shooter had. You can see him going into position. And Connie Cleary is saying, Enigma Severus, thank you all as well. Birdies are well. Thanks for asking. So, since I have a little bit of time, I was going to share something I found from Real Clear Politics. Now, I love them because back when I was blogging my very first time, they weren't quite as big of a deal as they are now. And you could actually email them and they would share videos and they would talk with you. So I haven't tried recently, but I just have a warm place in my heart. They may not be done or owned by the same people for all I know. But they came out with an article today. Acting Secret Service chief played key role in limiting resources for Trump. This may not be news to any of you, but it was news to me. Acting Secret Service Director Ronald Rowe was directly involved in denying additional security resources and personnel, including counter snipers, to former President Trump's rallies and events, despite repeated requests by the agents assigned to Trump's detail in the 2 years leading up to his July 13 attempted assassination, according to several sources familiar with the decision-making. Rowe succeeded former Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle, who resigned last week after bipartisan calls following her widely panned testimony before the House Oversight Committee. I did watch a little of it. Part of me felt a little bad for her, but at the same time, a reference back to how I emotionally reacted to the attempted assassination. Rowe succeeded former Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle, who resigned last week after calls following her widely panned testimony. But both Rowe and Cheadle were directly involved in decisions denying requests for more magnetometers, additional agents, and other resources to help screen rally goers at large outdoor Trump campaign gatherings. I think it almost goes without saying that they completely denied Kennedy any Secret Service protection, and I resent that. It was Rowe's decision alone to deny counter sniper teams to any Trump event outside of driving distance from D.C., these sources asserted. Rowe and FBI Deputy Director Paul Abbott are set to appear Tuesday, sometime back, before joint hearing in the Senate Judiciary and Homeland Security and Government Affairs committees. Senators on both sides of the aisle have vowed to press for answers on the assassination attempt of former President Trump that took the life of rally goer Corey Competeur and wounded 2 others. Senator Richard Blumenthal, who chaired the Homeland Security panel, said he plans to grill Rowe and Abbott on the litany of gaps and failures. There are monumental, critical questions that so far the leadership in these 2 agencies have failed to answer for, and even to begin to respond to, Blumenthal said. Well, that's a part of gaslighting too. You don't have to answer to anybody. I mean, you're the one that's in charge. The world centers around you. Why would you have to answer for anything? Enigma Sever says, here in Georgia, we have a baseball brawl at our park. My dad was in the middle of it. The media took that out of context. Oh my gosh. My dad and I saw it was centered on the wrong issues, not what happened. I'm sorry. Parents got in a fight over a parent cursing at another parent. Coaches got into a fight with opposing parents. News said it was because of an umpire, but it wasn't. Umpire ejected a parent cursing. News twists everything, no matter how small, to make sure they get ratings. There is no actual desire to tell the truth. It's about ratings and watchers. I'm sorry about that. I will also hold him fully accountable for being 100% transparent. Good luck with that. And honest in cooperating with our investigation and oversight, Johnson said Thursday. Johnson and other members of the committee are expected to focus on Rowe's role in the Secret Service's repeated denials of extra security requested by agents assigned to Trump's protective detail. Assigning counter snipers based on the ability to drive to an event may sound far-fetched, but knowledgeable sources explain that there is a limited number of these highly trained uniformed division officers. It's easier for counter sniper teams to carry the guns and gear in a van they can all use to transport the teams to the site for advanced work for the event, and then use the same vehicles referred to by the Secret Service as push vehicles to return to D.C. The alternative is for counter sniper teams to board commercial flights or Amtrak with all their gear. I'm sure that's not a nightmare at all. Find a rental vehicle once on the ground, then do it all in reverse on the way home. It's all possible under the needs of the service, one source contends, but in reality, it's much easier and far more cost-effective for counter snipers to drive to and from a site. It's probably not part of the green objective, though. Yeah, it can be snarky. They can carry their guns and gears on airplanes. There's an efficient process for that. I'm glad to know that, but it's going to be much easier because they have all their gear with them. The Secret Service has not responded to several questions from Real Clear Politics about decisions to deny or limit security resources and personnel, including counter snipers, to Trump's events. At first, the Trump rally in Butler, Pennsylvania had no Secret Service sniper teams assigned to it. Do you want to imagine what that fiasco would have been like if there had not been a sniper to end it? I know we rightfully complain that it still took too long, but at least the sniper finally ended it and saved some lives. What if there'd been no freaking snipers at all? I think that's unconscionable. At the last minute, agency officials reversed course and decided to add 2 snipers to the outdoor event. It's still unclear whether there were just 2 counter snipers or 2 two-man teams. So far, there's been no explanation as to why agency officials made the late counter sniper assignments to the Butler event, though it could be in response to the increased threat level Trump has faced in recent weeks. The Secret Service has said the agency increased security for Trump for an unknown time period before the Butler rally in response to an Iranian plot against the former president. As Real Clear Politics previously reported, the late decision to add the 2 counter snipers cut short the time the team had to conduct a detailed on-site survey. Such a survey would usually take 2 to 3 days to complete, but the counter sniper had only 1 day to complete that critical advance work, which helps explain why a critical thing was not covered. Doesn't absolve it, just helps explain it. Sources familiar with counter sniper advance work also said an outdoor forum such as the farm show site in Butler should require at least 3 two-man counter sniper teams. Instead, the Secret Service sent 2 counter snipers, then relied on a local law enforcement counter sniper team to man the American Glass Research Building, placing that structure outside the official Secret Service perimeter. The decision to rely on local law enforcement to man that building has come under scrutiny in the weeks after the shooting, especially as new details have emerged about local law enforcement's tracking of gunman Thomas Matthew Crooks more than an hour and a half before he opened fire, and his communications breakdown with the Secret Service. Local law enforcement snipers and their superior officers have said that they tried to keep the Secret Service informed about their concerns about Crooks, but their communications were siloed from the agency, even though they said they notified the site Secret Service Command Center of Crooks' suspicious activity. The Secret Service Command Center is supposed to be manned with both senior Secret Service agents and local law enforcement bosses to facilitate coordination and interoperability, as Cheadle testified during last week's congressional hearing. But a breakdown in communication occurred, and the Secret Service was tracking several suspicious persons that day, apparently never deemed Crooks a threat until he was crawling on top of the roof with a rifle. The Secret Service counter sniper killed Crooks as soon as he had him in his line of sight, Rowe told senators in a closed-door briefing last week. Senator Johnson, a Wisconsin Republican, told Real Clear Politics that Rowe told senators during the briefing that Crooks was hiding behind the lip of the edge of the building. The Secret Service counter sniper shot and killed him as soon as he could detect his forehead. There's been several questions. Lawmakers have repeatedly asked why, if local law enforcement was tracking Crooks so closely, didn't the Secret Service agents detailed to Trump whisk him off the stage or prevent him from going on stage in the first place? But those familiar with Secret Service protocol under similar circumstances say they are always multiple suspicious persons being tracked at Trump's rallies. They often do not rise to the level of alerting the president's security detail. On the day of the rally, more than 100 people needed medical attention for heat exhaustion, so you've already got a confusing situation. There were 3 other suspicious people besides Crooks that the Secret Service were tracking, even if, according to Christopher Paris, head of the Pennsylvania State Police, even if Secret Service received notification the local law enforcement was tracking Crooks and considered him suspicious, Secret Service agents wouldn't go into high alert unless they knew he was armed or on top of the roof. Use of the word threat would have changed things, and Trump would not have been allowed on stage, a source in the Secret Service community told Real Clear Politics. A suspicious person on the far outer perimeter where 8 cops are looking for him would not make 99% of agents keep the president off stage. Interesting. If that suspicious person were reported crawling on a roof, then most likely the Secret Service would have prevented Trump from beginning his rally, but Crooks apparently put the rifle together after scrambling up to the rooftop, leaving the Secret Service possibly only minutes or even just seconds to react once they learned that he had a gun and was crawling on the roof. At least one knowledgeable source blames the local law enforcement counter snipers for what appears to be at least one officer's failure to remain in his position and keep an eye on the rooftop. The Butler ESU was told where to be and what their job was likely by a supervisor who had been in meetings with the Secret Service. They had one job. They should have kept their eyes on the rooftop they were assigned to man. Several local law enforcement officers assigned to the building over the weekend accused the Secret Service of failing to coordinate with them or even meet with them before the rally. So we have lovely contradictory things being said. Secret Service spokesman Anthony Guglielmi declined to respond directly to the assertions by the Beaver County SWAT team. Instead, he said that the agency is committed to better understanding what happened before, during, and after the assassination attempt of former President Trump to ensure that it never happens again. Make of that whatever you will. Let's see what the chat's been saying. CODIS fact search. Yes. No, I know you have. Okay, so he is telling us that this is bullshit, and I trust him to be correct on that. He trained people in similar roles for 14 years. Yeah. Another reason why I love talking to you. You actually fucking know what you're talking about. Moira McCabe, Iranian plot. My furry ass. Just a buggy man to blame. CODIS fact search. I detest all politicians, especially Trump and Kamala. But yeah, they let this happen. If they had allowed local law enforcement to do their job, this would never have happened. And Moira McCabe says, Secret Service, they all failed. I'm going to take the last few minutes to be a little more conspiratorial than I usually am. I've not confirmed this. I actually found the thing that I read to you guys by looking this thing up on DuckDuckGo. Oh, crap. I keep blocking your comments. Okay. I found this on X, and I know as much as I'm falling in love with X, I know I got to be careful about falling for deep fakes here. So this is not verified. This may end up having nothing to do with anything, but I just can't help but share it. It was posted on several places on X. Again, even on DuckDuckGo, I could neither confirm nor I didn't even look it up in Snopes because I assume whether it's legit or not, they'll say it's not. I know I disingenuously used Snopes on my last post, but I had a point for doing that. According to several people on X, an email went out Monday night to the entire uniformed division, and was later taken down. So, yeah, I know this may not be legit, but I wanted to share it and see what everyone thought. Thank you for the backing and support. I'm not stopping until high-level supervisors are either fired or removed from their current positions. This agency needs to change. If not now, when? The next assassination attempt in 30 days? Because we all should expect another attempt to happen before November. We've exposed our inability to protect our leaders due to our leadership. The technicians who worked on January 13 in Butler, Pennsylvania, did their job with their hands tied, according to him. Or her. I have no idea. I shouldn't be sexist. I have no idea what sex this person is. Secret Service supervisors knew better, and the foot soldiers working made the best of a bad situation that resulted in a civilian death and a near miss of the protectee and our technician shooting and killing the suspect. I know many look at the secret as the CS team. I'm not sure what. I don't think that's Secret Service. Maybe it is. CODIS Fact Check can probably correct me. As guys who sit on the roof and don't do much, but our responsibility, our mission is not about protecting an empty White House located at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. It's about preventing and stopping another JFK-style assassination in whatever city that may be. Sadly, we have fallen short for years. We just got lucky and looked good doing it. I have conveyed these thoughts to not only supervisors, to include the current captain within CS, but those responsible for training us, only to be brushed off as if those with less experience somehow knew more than me. The team I was once proud to be a part of is something I have to now somehow hide as I move into my next career. Who wants to hire a Secret Service guy who failed? That's the public perception I'm now faced with. The Secret Service team is a stain we'll never be able to cleanse. Some of us take our job and responsibility seriously, deadly serious. I may be overzealous, but after 7 years in the Marine Corps as an NCO and 20 plus years on the counter sniper team, failure is not an option. And on July 13, we failed. Not because of commitment or sense of dedication, but because our supervisors, our leadership, knew better and thought our concerns were less than important. The current motto of the United States Secret Service is cover your own ass, and every supervisor is doing it now. So, CODIS Fact Search says the real conspiracy is why Enigma is not being allowed to chat. No, agreed. I promise you, even the most annoying people who have come on here, and you've never been annoying, Enigma, don't take it that way. I have never tried to block anybody. I've thought about it once or twice, and I think some of you know who and what I'm talking about, but I made the decision that I can't preach about free speech and then block someone for, what may not have been a good reason. Enigma Severus, because I think if we help others pass into eternity for specific actions, we could save money in the good old USA. A CODIS Fact Search. You would not be wrong, I think. I may be unfair for laughing about that when I've complained about my friends joking about Trump being missed. But that one got seen. Yeah, I was also saying that if you look on Wolf News, they have a new angle to the person that had to launch a projectile CODIS fact search, they will prevent the actual assassins. Now, they'll just wait till the election. No matter who wins, riots will break out. They will declare martial law, which legally allows them to suspend the election. Oh, yeah. I think I know what you meant. Fox News. So, and CODIS fact search is sharing that there's almost no way emails from agents would actually be allowed. Sadly, I don't disagree with the email, but I kind of suspected as much. And I thought about not sharing it just because I know that that's a little sensationalistic to share something that I pretty much felt was likely not. So my reason for going ahead and doing it is because whoever made that deep fake, I still feel like they nailed it on the head. Please let me know if you disagree, because I know that they're, at the very least, you, CODIS Fact Search, have a lot more experience with this stuff than I do. So I'll defer to your judgment, but I really feel like that letter, fake or not, and likely fake, spelled out the situation perfectly. I feel for the Secret Service agents. I don't doubt that at least most of the ones on that detail that day, they may not have been good agents. I don't mean to be critical, because I couldn't do their job. I'm pretty sure that even the worst agent on that field is better at it than I would be. But having said that, I also think that likely they're all dedicated, or Trump would be dead. That's my reasoning anyway. And I'm having a good time, but I think I better cut this short because I want to give everyone time to go to Netter's Network Thursday things. I am going to leave the link in the chat just in case anybody needs, wants it, or wants to go there. Enigma Severus, you should YouTube some of the people who can't name the current administration. People, will believe deep fakes. Honestly, never do much research beyond what their grandma is watching. Yeah, sadly. And I know I don't necessarily do enough research myself, but at least put some effort into it. Geez, these days there are far too many stops in place. Thanks to our favorite Danish gentleman. Oh my. All right. I am going to call it a stream. I got my soft porn music going. I would love to thank everyone in the chat, because everybody here is, as far as I know, really spiffy people. First person here today was Enigma Severus. You suffered through nearly the whole stream. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Miss Frosty, a beautiful day. Thank you for stopping by and leaving a like. Sashi, the man from the future. Don't worry. America is going to be an even better dystopia than Asia. I feel confident about that. Connie Cleary, I bet you're already over at Netter's Network. I will be there shortly. Matt Cheatwood, hopefully I'm going to, unless something happens, please let me know, but I'm going to be seeing you this weekend. I cannot hardly wait. And I'm sure Cassie will love it. Maybe I shouldn't call that out online. I don't know. But I'm looking forward to it. Yes, people, I do sometimes have a social life. Not often. Peace is war. Slavery is freedom. Tyranny is democracy. Good enough for the girls I date. CODIS Fact Search, thank you very much for coming on here. I know you've got to teach tomorrow. I appreciate you for being here and being a much better and much kinder fact checker than I could ask for on the social media platforms. Moira McKay, thank you very much. I've learned a lot from you as well, and it's always good to see you. I think I have said hi to everybody and thanked everybody. Please forgive me if I have left anyone out. Thank you, everyone, for listening. It's just my 2 cents on things. I love everyone in here. Still trying to figure things out, but I try to get at least a step closer to the truth, to Christ, whatever you want to call it. I know that's a little flim-flammy, but I just want to be respectful to everybody. And just remember this, you are not, in spite of the gaslighting that's going on, you're not going mad. You're going sane in a mad world. Thank you very much for listening, and have a wonderful evening. See some of you over at Netter's Network in about 10 minutes.